I am just going to pull my screen up on the other side and we will go ahead and get started in just 1 second. Happy Tuesday, and we want to make sure we are good to go on the other side of the screen. I see the live, and it looks like we are good to go. Happy Tuesday, my friends. Today is Tuesday, November 11th at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Happy Veterans Day, and thank you to all our veterans that are currently fighting and are retired, all of our veterans that are in the military. Thank you so much. And if you are watching me during the live at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on November 11th, right here on YouTube, you have caught me live. For those of you that are live, come in and say hello. Good morning, Jenny. For those of you that might be new to my channel, welcome. My name is Tammy Civello, and welcome to Cards by TLC. This week on Teach It Tuesday with Tammy and Jenny, it is Color Challenge Week. So we came up with a fun color combo that's a soft look for our Christmas winter themed projects this week. We are going to be focusing on Gray Granite, Pretty in Pink, and Lost Lagoon. Jenny actually found this combo, and it's absolutely fun and gorgeous and soft. And as you can see, it kind of gives you that non-traditional Christmas. I'm focusing on Christmas card, and Jenny is doing a fun snowflake winter themed card. But I need to dive back into my Christmas cards, so we are doing a non-traditional color combo. I absolutely love the greens and reds. I do both. I even incorporated the black and gold this season, but I'm a non-traditional girl. So I know it might be like contrary, but I actually really love the soft looks of especially this combo. Like pinks and purples and blues. I love that, but I do love a traditional red and green, especially in the Traditions of Christmas designer paper that just came back in stock. So I'll be playing with that later on this week, but I am using Festive Friends. I absolutely love these guys. I've done it on several projects so far. But we have our cute little elf, our Santa, and our little snowman. And then we have our little Charlie Brown. I like to call it a Charlie Brown Christmas tree because it's just the twigs in the background. But we have coordinating dies, and it does have a fun tag, and I have not made a project yet with this tag yet, so I still need to do that. Maybe I'll do that with the more traditional colors. But we are also incorporating some snowflakes. I actually did not put it on my original sample, but we are going to be adding these cute little snowflakes to the projects today. I highly recommend if you do use the snowflakes, because they're on the thinner range, except for this one right here, you can add some glue. I would actually highly recommend using the self-adhesive sheets to turn them into stickers. It'll make things a lot easier. Trust me on that. We are also incorporating the textured notes dies. So I thought that that was going to be fun on today's project. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I actually already pre-stamped my snowman in gray granite just to give him a softer look. And then of course we incorporated the Lost Lagoon for our trees. I did a fun background with the snowflake stamp in Pretty in Pink. So this is our fun color combo. Absolutely love the soft look of this, but we are going to go ahead and get started. I think first and foremost, let's go ahead and go over the parts and pieces. As always, they're pretty standard. Our top folding card base, 4¼ by 11, and we have scored that at 5½ in thick basic white. So this is our card base, and then we have two Pretty in Pink panels, one for the front and one for the inside, at 4 by 5¼ and then I have pre-cut out the textured notes dies. Currently I believe they are on the back order list. However, I believe they're going to be coming in back in the next week or so. So if you are looking to grab these dies, they will be back in, and you can always add your name to the email list. So when something is out of stock, you can add your name to the email list and they will email you the minute it comes back in stock. I love that feature that Stampin' Up just recently added. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm just going to go ahead and start with coloring and get our little snowman done. You can add some Wink of Stella right here. So I was trying to be smart and add some liquid to my Wink of Stella that I was almost out of the ink. And I closed it up, and I thought I closed it up, but it exploded all over my project last night. So we got rid of that one. I do have a new Wink of Stella on hand, but if you do have a Wink of Stella marker or pen, you might want to add that to your project. It's fun to add. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and start by coloring our snowman. And I have used Pretty in Pink, both the light and dark combo. I always like to start with the lighter color on the Pretty in Pink. So I'm going to do my little ball right here in the lights, and then I'm going to leave that one for my Lost Lagoon. Then I'm going to just alternate back and forth with the Pretty in Pink and Lost Lagoon. So I'm going to go ahead, because we're going to be working with bigger portions right here, I'm going to go ahead and use the brush tip to make things a lot smoother and easier. So like I said, I always like to go in with the lighter, and then we'll add some dark edging along the sides. This portion is where I would typically do the Wink of Stella to give it that sparkle along with the little puffy ball piece, but we have to improvise today. Okay. This is a very quick and easy card. I love these because this bundle, because it's quick, it's simple, and if you want to get that coloring in, this is a great bundle to do shading on. So there is that. Okay, and then I'm going to do my nose in the pink. This is where I would normally do Timid Tiger or something like that. Now I'm going to come in with my Lost Lagoon. The textured notes should be available starting November 17th, the week of the 17th. Thank you, Jenny, for looking that up. I appreciate that. I know, isn't it fun? Thank you for looking that up for me. I appreciate that. Okay. It's kind of hard to color standing up, but I'm going to make it happen. And I threw my back out this weekend, so try not to aggravate that. Okay. Again, I'm starting with the lighter color, and then I'll do some shading and then come back to the darker color. I mean the lighter color. So I'm going to come in with my dark Lost Lagoon and just kind of go along the lines here. There we go. And then we'll come along here. trying to squat instead of bending over. Typically it doesn't bother me, but being gentle. I'm gonna try to go for a walk too after this. Okay, there's that. Then I'm gonna come in with my light and just kind of blend that out just a little bit. Go. Love the look of that. And then I'm gonna come in with my dark Pretty in Pink and just kind of brush along here. Just enough to give it a little bit of dimension here. There we go. Just enough to give it a little ink blending on that. Then I'm gonna go ahead and come in with my Post-it notes. I hope you didn't hear that pop. That was my shoulder. I'm like snap, crackle, and popping over here. So I'm just gonna come in here and die cut that out. Bear with me. It decided to move. Okay, hold on. It decided to move. I really need to get the bigger Post-its. That's a better idea to hold this down. These thinner Post-its do the job okay, but they have a tendency to jump. Okay. Gentle, gentle, gentle. Okay. Put my top one and run it through slowly so it does not jump. Okay. And there's our cute little snowman. And then I'm going to take the trees and some Lost Lagoon, and we're going to die cut a couple of trees. I actually might die cut a couple, two tall ones and then the short one, just to kind of see my options. Sometimes changing things up just a little bit to give another sample is always a good option. That's always a good tip, especially if you're mass producing. Change things up just a little bit so you have other options on doing things. Now typically I would be changing like a color background or whatever, but since we're doing a color combo challenge, I do need to stick to these 3 colors. Okay, there's our tree. I'm gonna do one more tall tree. Okay. Here's our tree. Let's grab that. So there's our 2 trees. And then I'm going to come in with my sentiments. And I'm going to be honest with you, I am so thankful. Stampin' Up! Just recently changed it to where they are discontinuing our red rubber stamps and going to all photopolymer. I am so thankful for that because I really struggle. Sometimes I'll get the sticker on backwards or whatever, and I need to make sure that I'm going to bring in my little sample here just so, or scrap, so I can make sure that I'm good to go. Okay, that should be pretty straight. Always want to test it, make sure I don't have any lines around there, which it doesn't look like I did. There we go. We wish you a Merry Christmas in our gray granite, and I do need to add more ink to that gray. You can see where that faded patch is. Okay, then I'm gonna just go ahead and start layering up my cute little layers. Oh, I gotta bring that scrap piece in because we need to stamp our pretty and pink background with our cute little snowflake die. So this, I'm just gonna go along the edge here and just make sure I get some good coverage. That was a faded one. That's all right. I am gonna just go ahead and randomly put this in. I know it looks a little weird, but we're layering. I didn't even pay attention because we're layering the textured notes layer on top of that. Just like that. That is gonna go on our card front, just like so. And before I do the snowman, I'm gonna go ahead and add my 2 layers on the inside. So I forgot, I'm gonna go ahead and do the exact same thing on the inside, because we're gonna do another textured note layer. I don't know about you, but this is like calming. This kind of reminds me of like ink blending. Just nonchalantly not paying attention to putting the stamps wherever they may flow. I would love to also know in the chat, since we were talking about traditional colors, non-traditional colors, are you a traditional Christmas person, or do you like non-traditional Christmas colors? I'm kind of like a hybrid. I do love the non-traditional, but I do also love that tradition of a traditional color of red and green. And if you are watching the replay, please comment that as well. I would love to know whether you're in the chat live or in the chat on the replay, if you are a non-traditional color or a traditional color. Okay. And see, this gives it some nice dimension on the inside of the card as well, and you're not just having a stock white layer, just something a little extra. Okay. And then we're gonna come in here and we'll put our layer on top of that in just a minute, but let's go ahead and start laying down our trees and kind of see where we want things. And we're gonna add our snowflakes to the front. Oh, thank you, Jenny. You tend to be tradition, but you're starting to love non-traditional. I know, right? Thanks, Stampin' Up. I'm gonna go ahead and take the inside or the outside out, and we're just gonna add some dots, very light dots. I do know I want this one right here. Let's just kind of see if we want to put another one over here. I kind of like that. I think I'm going to tuck our little chubby one back there. Do you guys like the two trees or just the one tree? Kind of like the two trees. I know we're gonna do the chubby one behind here, so we'll just add just a little light dusting of glue. Let's go ahead and bring this over just a little bit. You love the too tall, okay. All right, that is what we're going to do. Oh, hello. That was a good catch. Let's hold that down. And then, oh yeah, I definitely like that. And we're gonna pop our snowman up. Do we need some more foam adhesive sheets? Here's one. There we go there. And then we have our snowflake pieces. Now again, this makes things a lot easier just doing the self-adhesive sheets and pulling them off like a sticker. You'll be less cranky. Trust me on that. And I die cut out all 4 of the snowflakes. Typically I would do clusters of 3, but I liked that small one too. And since it die cuts it out at the same time, the little tiny one that I'm going to put on in just a moment, I'm going to be doing 4. Because it's just a little baby. Maybe we'll put a little star on top of our tree. There we go. Look how cute that is. See, it just adds a little something extra since I'm not putting embellishments on. The snowflakes are our embellishments. Okay. And you could pop this up even more, but I popped up the snowman, so that should be plenty. So there we have it, my friends. There is our plain Jane and our amped up version of I'm just a baby. I know, as I was saying that, that was like going through my head, Jenny. So that will do it for me today. Now, please be sure to come back at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Facebook at Stampin' with Jen. That's 2 N's in Stampin' and 2 N's in Jen for her version of the Winter Wonderland color combo that we have done today. Love the stepped up version. I do too. I absolutely do. This was the, okay, let's get it on the paper, keep it simple. And this is great for just like your traditional person. And then we have our stepped up version that we have both the front and the inside. Just kind of completes everything. So please be sure you join Jenny today at 4 p.m. And I will be back here on Thursday for another episode of Template Thursday with Tammy, with one template, two orientations. So thank you all for joining me, and I will see you all next time for more creative fun. Bye, everyone.